But I do now want to transition a little bit more overtly to lucid dreaming. This is the topic that has the most traffic these days. There are dozens of books on this. It's fantastically kind of prolific area. And as I mentioned earlier, this is that state of consciousness. I'm sure many of you listening have had it. When you're dreaming, something clues you into the fact that you're dreaming. You wake up within the dream. So you're still in the dream, but now you're aware, you're conscious of it. And so in terms of just in contradistinction, like how is lucid dreaming different from dream yoga? Well, this is my languaging. Mostly, once you get past the entertainment value, initially when most people do lucid dreaming, and this is why it sells, you'll see things like fulfill your wildest fantasies in the privacy of your own mind kind of thing. And so this is one reason it's a little bit sexy, it sells, because you're basically able to do fundamentally whatever you want within the context of your dream. So initially there's a lot of entertainment value involved. It's like you become the writer, producer, director, actor in an Academy Award winning production of your own mind, right? You can pretty much do whatever you want. In terms of maturation, that type of lucid dreaming, eventually people wonder after a while, isn't there something else? Can I do something more than that? Well, yes. This is where the vast array of benefits that come from more formal, higher level, intermediate, higher level dimensions of lucid dreaming. We can talk about that when I talk about the benefits. That's where that comes in. You can use lucid dreaming largely in this arena for purposes of self-fulfillment and for psychological development. Fantastically rich. I'm going to say just a teeny bit more about this, but I want to complete the dream yoga thing so you see how it's different from that, and then I'll come back. How dream yoga is different from lucid dreaming is that dream yoga, again, transcends but includes lucid dreaming. So instead of self-fulfillment with lucid dreaming, dream yoga is more about self-transcendence. Instead of psychological orientations, it's more spiritual orientations. So this is one reason, by the way, that Carl Jung, one of the most sophisticated dreamers in the psychological world of the last century, he knew all about lucid dreaming, but he was very cautious, very reluctant to endorse it because he saw all the potential shadow sides of self-aggrandizement, all the things that you can do that aren't necessarily so beneficial. But for purposes of contradistinction, lucid dreaming, psychological, dream yoga, spiritual, lucid dreaming, self-fulfillment, dream yoga, self-transcendence. And so in terms of what you would do, like I would just want to give you one sense of what you would do in dream yoga. And then again, I am going to spin back to lucid dreaming, but I want to ping this for you before I forget. There are basically, in the classic texts of dream yoga, there are three fundamental stages. The first stage is what's called the stage of recognition. And this basically is lucid dreaming. If you can't recognize the fact that you're dreaming while you're dreaming, you're certainly not going to practice dream yoga. So the 1/3 of dream yoga is attaining lucidity. The second third is the stage of transformation. This is where you work to transform the contents of your dream. And I'm going to give you a very specific example that you can actually start to try. I mean, you can work with this material starting tonight. I'm going to give you one very specific example of what that means and then how you can actually start to work with it. The third general classification of dream yoga is what's called the stage of liberation. And this is where, again, you're not interested in transforming content. You're interested in liberating dream content. And this is where it becomes really deeply meditative, similar to what we do with meditation during the day. Higher forms of meditation are about liberating the contents of your mind as they arise. And so to give you one brief sense of how this actually works, let me share with you one example that you can start to play with tonight. And so what you would do here, there's so many different kind of images, but here's what I recommend. This was in my mapping, this would be my stage 3. So what I do with my cartography of dream yoga, I take the classic 3 stages, which are pretty steep, and I give more baby steps. I interject kind of working stages between them. And so my stage 3 would certainly be within the classic second stage of dream yoga. But what you do here is next time you have a dream, it's really a simple, okay, so here's a pen. Let's say you're in a dream. Doesn't matter, it makes no difference. But let's just say there's a pen in your dream. What you want to do is simply take this pen and transform it into a glass. Or if there's a pink elephant in your dream, transform it into an airplane. Transform a chair into a table. It doesn't matter. The idea is quite literally, it's not as easy as it sounds. The idea is literally to try to change the dream images from one to another. And so one might ask, okay, well, is this just like some cognitive video game? Like, why are you doing this? Well, here's the reason you're doing it. When you're working with your dreams, even at this level, what are dreams made of? Dreams are made of your mind. And so by learning how to change your dreams, you're quite literally learning how to change your mind. And so I wanted to share a wonderful short supporting statement from Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche. He's one of the leading continual teachers on this topic from the Bön Buddhist tradition. In fact, his classic book, The Tibetan Yogas of Dream and Sleep, is being reissued this year in an updated edition. And this is what he says, and then I'll share from my own personal life and experience how this has worked for me. It's no small thing. Just as dream images can be transformed in dreams, so emotional states and conceptual limitations can be transformed in waking life. With experience of the dreamy and malleable nature of experience, we can transform depression into happiness, fear into courage, anger into love, hopelessness into faith, distraction into presence. What is unwholesome, we can change to wholesome. What is dark, we can change to light. Challenge the boundaries that constrict you. Let me say that again. Challenge the boundaries that constrict you. The purpose of these practices is to integrate lucidity and flexibility with every moment of life, and to let go of the heavily conditioned way we have of ordering reality, of making meaning, of being trapped in delusion, end quote. And so this is the way this has worked for me. And I cannot tell you how many times this has happened. So I've done this, I can't, hundreds of times in my dreams. When I did dream yoga in my retreat, this is part of the curriculum. And so the way this started to manifest for me is the following way. I would say there's so many examples, but let's say I'm in a difficult conversation with my partner, with my boss, and I don't like where it's going. I don't like what I'm hearing. I can start to feel myself contracting and getting really kind of pissed off. I'm about to lose it. And I cannot tell you, there have been so many instances where it's like, I'm about to capitulate in an unhealthy reactive response when I am not kidding. The image of changing this pencil to this glass from last night's dream will pop into my mind. And just like those, it's really like those annoying pop-ups that you get on your computer. When you're engaging in these practices, it's a bi-directional process. Dream yoga and lucid dreaming at the higher stages, you're installing in your unconscious mind these pop-ups that will then, during the course of the day, ping, they will pop into your mind when you least expect them and when you need them the most to bring about a moment of lucidity. And by this, what I mean is if I'm involved in a difficult conversation and I'm about to lose it, I'm about to go non-lucid in an angry response, that is, in fact, an instance of non-lucidity. And so this is the genius of these meditations. The mindfulness, awareness, lucidity I'm cultivating at night, same consciousness, just different medium of expression, will ping back into my mind during the day and wake me up just before I'm about to lose it in an emotional upheaval. And so this is incredibly important because lucid dreaming leads to lucid living. That's the point. The point is to take the insights from the nocturnal mind and then bring them back. It's like literally opening interstate commerce between two previously different states of consciousness. You're opening up this traffic of wisdom running at unconscious dimensions where insights are basically ferrying back and forth. And this works again, it's a two-way street. It's a bi-directional process. When you're trying to work with lucidity at night, you work with installing pop-ups during the day. We haven't gotten there yet outside of talking about intentionality. I can return to that in a second. That's the principal way you bring about lucidity at night is by installing pop-ups during the day. But then pop up at night to say, hey, wait a second, this is just a dream. You wake up, you're lucid. Dream yoga, and lucid dreaming doesn't have this much. This is mostly dream yoga. Dream yoga then takes exactly that same process and brings it back into the day. So the insights I derive from my dream state, now I'm ferrying back into the waking state to help me wake up and become lucid during the day. This is no small thing. And this is what it means to be lucid, like the Buddha, arguably the awakened one, literally. The Buddha was the ultimate lucid dreamer. And this is part of this kind of trajectory or charter of these nocturnal meditations, is to bring kind of a bidirectional lucidity between two previously disparate states of consciousness as a way to enhance awareness and lucidity in both.